Yeah. Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning.
Hello.
Excellent.
What did the agenda?
So you're running yesterday morning?
Did you give me?
Yes.
By the dump.
I thought I
Oh,
gave you
Yes,
that.
yes, that
Sorry.
was,
Yeah, you were actually farther up Jones and crossing over the other way.
yeah, that was to the last leg there. Well, thanks for all running
Oh.
over.
So this is,
No, that's it, that's my shorter one.
All right, so that's the filing for our NOI tonight.
Oh, yay.
Yay, your NOI.
Oh, he's often,
Yeah.
you do something?
He has, yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you weren't gonna be here tonight.
Yeah.
That was the last meeting.
I was at the last meeting.
Oh, so when,
I don't know.
ah.
I know you don't want me around, but.
Oh, no.
All right. So Louise will open at 7:05.
7:05, that's right.
Hi,
Hi.
can we help you?
I was just here to view it, I guess.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
We do offer great entertainment.
Oh,
I was very nervous.
Observe.
Okay.
This goes on the
You want
Comedy
her
Channel.
name?
On YouTube, I heard.
Could we have your name?
Janice Carroll.
What is it again?
Janice Carroll.
Janice?
Carol.
Carroll, C-A-R-R-O-L-L.
Okay.
Did you bring the cookies, Janice?
Unfortunately,
Janice
no, I
with a
didn't
C
put mine on.
or with
Now
an
let's
S?
look at the
How do you
detail, this
spell
is all we
Janice?
have.
J-A-N-I-C-E.
Right, so
Is
this,
it a different detail?
And you're a
that
school
one.
teacher.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh, there's two ways of spelling
That's
Janice.
fine, not the
Yeah,
other.
C-E or an S.
Gotcha.
And Carol with two R's.
Two
And
L's.
two L's.
Yeah, okay, so J-A-N-I-S, you said.
C-E.
C.
C-E.
Okay, that's what I
Sorry.
thought, but then,
No, C
T is in dog.
C.
yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah, I had a friend who's.
Wow,
from-
really, yeah, that worked.
Right,
Wow,
right?
tonight,
Yeah.
aren't we? Wow. All
Is
right.
that for you?
Obviously, it's nice weather got to us.
Maybe, I think that's it.
Oh, all right, so this is the Earthworks for, a notice from the Earthworks Board for the Portage River Road West, so that's the apartments, right?
Okay,
That was a
so
long time ago we did that.
we are doing meal right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, what's that again?
A notice from the Earthworks Board, yeah, January 22nd,
Hmm.
which really wasn't all that long ago,
No.
it just feels like it was.
Really?
Yeah.
We voted on it last meeting, which was a month ago.
Okay, and what is it about?
The import
Port of soil.
for the portage at River Bridge.
Legal
Hockey
pocket.
or something.
No, there's a path down to the river,
Right.
Yeah.
and I guess they're gonna need to make it easier to walk. So when you put your kayak in there, it won't
So
twist
when
around.
you're kayaking or canoeing on a river and you have to pull your boat out and walk around something, that's a portage.
Ah,
Portage.
Portage, yes, sorry, is that how we need to pronounce this? Portage?
portage,
Yes.
yes. Next to the outhouse.
All right, yeah, not much in the mail. We got a set of plans for Mark Road's Peach Hill subdivision, but no filing. So, not sure what's up with that.
Mhm.
I don't know if any of us care to look at the plans, or if we want to just wait till we get the filing.
Is that for South Street?
I can wait.
Where are
Peach
they?
Hill.
Oh, South Street.
Right exactly next to the Windmill property.
Oh,
Oh, right.
we're down there.
Yeah.
Is there a number or?
Nope.
No.
Nope, just a set of plans. No NOI, no anything. And then Larry Green is coming in at 7:30 for an extension, a second extension of the order of conditions for the portage
Mm-hmm.
part of River Road. So that's the other mail. That. All right, so treasurer's report, or you wanna wait?
No change from last month?
Up to me.
Yeah, I'm just, oh, we haven't, I'm sorry, I was skipping, yes. Louise, would you like to read the minutes?
What if I said no?
I'll ask Steve.
And I'll give it back to you.
Okay. All right, so January 16, 2019, meeting opened at 7:15. Carol read notice from the BOS about board meetings being recorded. Attendees Carolyn, John, Steve, Walter, Liz, Louise, Carol. Minutes of previous meeting.
Oh, hold on, I did not actually read the notice tonight.
Oh, you have to read it at every meeting.
Right? Do I have to read this every meeting?
No.
You and I'm sure.
No, you definitely do not have to read it.
Well, we haven't, somebody who in
I think you
the
need to
room.
read that at
Yeah.
every meeting.
So, this
Whoa,
meeting is
I
being
know.
videotaped. Open session public meetings are subject to being videotaped. Your image and voice may be recorded.
Next thing you do, run me over.
All right,
When did the royalty checks come out? The movie?
with your paycheck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
yeah. Keep looking. Okay, I'm sorry, Louise, go
That's
ahead.
okay.
She wanted a break.
All right, so minutes for December 19, 2018 were reviewed. Liz moved to accept the minutes as amended. John seconded the motion, which passed unanimously. Treasurer's report, funds available as of November 30th, 2018. Annual budget, $1,418.79. Wetlands fund, $7,619.47. Open space land acquisition, $280,204.13. Neil, document from Department of Environmental Affairs regarding the $9,200 grant to be used for writing the open space recreation plan.
Isn't it 9,600?
Okay, I have two in my notes.
Paperwork is at home. All right, that's fine then.
Okay.
Yep.
Walter moved we accept the grant in the amount of $9,200 for developing the open space recreation plan. Liz seconded the motion, which passed unanimously. The document was signed by the CC members and notarized by Town Clerk Eloise Sauls. The signed document will be sent to the DEA, Department of Environmental Affairs. 2, volunteer application from Kevin Susi for the CC. Carolyn will let him know we have a full board at this time, but he is welcome to attend the meetings. 3, copy of a letter sent to the Berlin boards from Northeast Greenery Solutions concerning issues with the land purchase of 0 West Street, 5 Corners. No action need to be taken by the CC at this time. 4, notification from MACC about the upcoming March 2nd conference. Members of CC expressed interest in attending. 5, notice from the Board of Selectmen that all articles for the annual town meeting warrant need to be submitted no later than 12 noon on February 11th. Okay, 6, letter from George Kirley, attorney representing the POTUS.
Right, so it's actually Kiritsy is his last name.
K-I-R-I-T-S-Y,
Ittsy.
okay. All right, attorney for the POTUS Solar Farm project concerning Mr. POTUS's intent to convert his property from 61A status without sale. Since no sale is taking place, the right of first refusal does not apply. Wetlands, wetlands issues, trail management / Eagle Scout project. 1, NOI for trail maintenance and invasive species management on Berlin protected land. John presented a proposed NOI application to cover any work done on trail work. He will submit an application and place a notice of the NOI hearing in the item. The hearing is scheduled for February 6th, 2019 at 8 p.m. Other wetlands issues. The River Bridge Erosion control project inspection needs to be done. Walter will contact River Bridge Management to set up an inspection. 5, appointments. A, 7:30, meeting with owner of 245 River Road West Home Contracting Business was canceled. B, hearing, 8 o'clock hearing for Highland Ridge continued. DEP number 107-0240. 1, Chris Slade applicant and set to
241.
241.
Yep.
Okay. All right. And Seth Donahoe of Dillis and Ducharme Civil Design Group presented their revised plans along with letters explaining the changes based on the review of Pat Garner, peer reviewer. 2, Carolyn presented a letter from Pat Garner stating that he is in agreement with the changes they have made. 3, the final bill in the amount of $1,875 from Pat Garner for his peer review was presented. Walter moved that we accept the revised plans submitted by Dillis and Ducharme dated November 28, 2018 for the Highland Ridge Senior Development. John seconded the motion, which passed unanimously.
Right, it's Ducharme and Dillis. I don't know if that matters enough, but
Oh, okay. All right.
it's right on the bottom of this.
Well, yeah, it probably does. Is that what it says on this? Okay. All right. 5, Chris Slade informed the CC he plans on starting development in the spring. He also stated, there should be D there, that he will probably be turning over the project to another party. 6, Carolyn asked about plans for the proposed CR and part of the parcel. Chris described how he plans to set up the CR. 6, business, a new business, Eagle Scout project. John reported on information he received from attending MACC conference on land management. Because of all the wetland issues in some of the trails, he stated an NOI should be submitted by the CC before any trail work such as the proposed Eagle Scout project be done. He submitted a narrative describing the intent and activities that would take place in maintaining the trails. 2, Carolyn reported that the report for the town report is due on January 22nd, 2019. Carolyn and Louise will work together to write the report. 3, annual town meeting. Walter proposed possible articles the CC could place on the town meeting warrant. These include a request for 50% of the town's proceeds from Boundless Adventure, as previously discussed with the Board of Selectmen, and a request for proceeds from tax title land sales to be used for land acquisition. The CC will meet with the Board of Selectmen to discuss placing these articles on the warrant. 4, plastic bag ban. Carolyn and Lisa Wysocki, representing the Board of Selectmen, have met with Hudson's conservation agent and a representative of Green Hudson Group to continue discussion of the proposed ban. Hudson is in agreement with placing the article on the agenda for their town meeting in the fall. The CC will work with the Board of Selectmen to place an article on the town warrant. The ongoing business. 1, vernal pool certification. Carolyn reported that she had been consulting with Pat Garner, who has volunteered to work with the CC on this project. 2, River Road West Rivers Protection Act violation. Walter reported that further review of 3 possible violations, only 2, 243 River Road West and 245 River Road West, were actually in violation. The owner of 245 River Road West is scheduled to attend February 6, 2019 meeting. The owner of 243 River Road West will be asked to attend the meeting also. The ZBA will be notified that the CC has an interest in this issue. Okay, that should probably say 245.
Right.
Right.
I'm sorry, which one?
The last sentence.
Right, they have
Maybe
interest in
identify.
the 245 River Road West issue.
And actually, instead of issue, It's an
Violation.
it's an application for, home-based,
Home-based
hold on, I
business.
have it right here.
So they'll be notified if we have an interest, right?
No, that
The
we,
ZBA will be notified.
that we have an interest in the application for home-based business at 245 River Road West.
245 River Road West.
Okay. All right, 3, Wheeler Pond update discussion. 4, open space plan. The CC and Recreation Committee will meet with a member of Central Mass Regional Planning Committee on Wednesday, January 18, 2019, to begin drafting a new plan. Tax title lands. Steve showed locations of tax title lands that the CC might acquire for conservation. The CC discussed which parcels would be pertinent to our efforts to conserve land and protect our water resources. Steve will contact Town Treasurer Dennis Irby to inform him which parcels we are interested in. 6, procedure checklist for the CC is in progress. 7, Berlin Meadows Walkway, no discussion. No discussion on land acquisition. Under land management, I did put down generic notice of intent drafted. And community outreach, no events scheduled. Steve moved to adjourn the meeting. Walter seconded the motion, which passed unanimously. Meeting ended at 9:40. Minutes recorded by Louise Janda.
Yeah, one thing I want to clarify, on B, here on the last page, number 3, I mean, we kind of got, I don't want to state it that way, and there's possible violations. There's one seems pretty clear from an aerial photograph, but this one, 245, it isn't clear looking at it. It almost appears they may not be in violation. They may be the 200 feet from the river, so I just don't want that in there.
Right, the way,
In fact, I'm not sure until we get in and get a plans, you know, kind of feet in the ground type of thing, looking at it, that,
So do you want to change that to
well,
might be?
yeah,
Yes.
it's very
Right.
possible that there are some violations on River Road down on the lots from, you know, 243 to 245.
Okay, so where are we?
All right,
So-
so how
So
does this
scratch
say?
the one, you know, I mean, I would put
so,
in,
So what if we say only 243 River Road West and 245
Okay,
River
Can
Road
we start
West?
from the beginning now? Okay, River Road West Rivers Protection Act violation. So are we leaving Walter reported that further review of the 3 possible violations, only 2, blah, 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 or actually violations? Is that an accurate statement?
We're actually of
actually
concern.
maybe.
I
a
would put a
violation.
period after, I would put a period after violations, leave it. 3,
After further review of the 3 possible violations, only 2.
oh, wait a minute, yeah,
Might,
We're of any concern.
there you go, that sounds good to me. And you don't.
yeah,
have
that
to-
sounds good.
Yeah, or of any concern.
Or need further,
No, I would leave it,
Okay.
simple.
Okay, so then the owner of 245 River Road West is scheduled to attend tonight's meeting,
Mhm.
right? Okay, and the owner, the actual tenancy of 243 also,
right.
okay, and the ZBA will be notified that the CC has an interest in the 245 River Road West home business application.
Correct.
Okay,
okay.
anything else?
You got the 2 Sherman Dills versus
Were
twice.
there 2?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did 1.
So
Thank you.
I have
Find.
the,
So when you
One's the
start,
top,
right,
one's the
and
bottom.
then,
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Extra one.
so we do, so
Did you make
in
another
reading
correction,
these
John?
minutes, we actually do need to.
yeah, vote on, yeah,
vote on
these are the ones,
them. Yeah, 'cause we
yeah.
didn't vote on those. Okay. First motion,
Motion.
go ahead.
To accept the minutes as amended.
Second.
Who said it first, Carol?
Yes.
Of course I
Oh,
thought.
no, I
said.
No.
At the second.
All those in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Alright.
Grand,
It's wound up.
Who said
tonight.
second first? Okay, right.
Grand Poobah,
Yes, sir.
this might be for the planning board, there's no wetland.
There is a planning board copy in the planning board
There's no-
mail.
I mean, there's stormwater management stuff, but there's no wetlands. So,
So, was that a,
No, there isn't. He's the distance from it, even 200 from
right,
a intermittent
so was
stream.
that informational, maybe?
Yeah.
It would only be
Sit on it.
significant if they didn't do the stormwater management thing correctly,
Right.
because then it would just pour all over the place.
Okay, do you wanna go back to that? or-
Okay,
Okay,
minutes are done.
Larry, you get 3 minutes. But no, you have 3 minutes until you're.
That's right.
We
We're
have,
just breaking it up,
right,
that's
we
all.
have 3 minutes to get to you.
Yeah.
All right, so, the shortest thing is our 8. Oh, that was the other thing. Did you already post the minutes?
No, I did not. post them.
There was one other correction. John's hearing is 8:30, not 8 o'clock,
Uh-huh.
because our 8 o'clock was 245 River Road, and they have canceled again. They still do not have their plans done.
The hearing is scheduled, wetlands, I should probably, and so the hearing is scheduled for February 6th at 8:30.
Correct, and that is what the posting says.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so the applicant does not have necessary information?
Correct.
For what?
245 for the home-based, remember we
I
asked them
would
for,
just skip that. That doesn't mean anything. It's just an informational thing in there and set a plan. Oh, unless you want to kind of cover it.
no, I'm just
Yeah, all right,
saying
Well,
to
I think
people,
we
right,
should state why it was canceled.
right.
okay.
All right, Larry, now you're up. And you can have as much time as you want.
Oh, yeah?
But don't sit
Oh,
down.
yeah?
Yeah.
Don't sit down, all right.
There you go.
I'm standing on one leg. So, I don't know how you guys see the site.
That's green with the easel.
It is. So, I'll start. Good evening, Larry Green from WBA. I'm here on behalf of Riverbridge North LLC, NRP/Riverbridge Apartments LP. We are here this evening to request the order of condition extension for, I don't know how you guys see this as, Riverbridge, the east side, phase 2B,
The
the
apartments.
multifamily, the apartments, all that. So that's where I'm here requesting that order of condition extension. So back in March of 2015, this commission issued an order of conditions for this proposed development.
Okay, you're talking too fast.
She
Okay,
only
so
had 3
you-
minutes.
I get it every word.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
so, back in March of 2015, this commission issued an order of conditions for this, the apartment project, multifamily. There was obviously buffer work with, BVW, Riverfront, obviously then there was the whole compensatory storage area. So then basically about a year ago, actually February of last year, I was before you again requesting an order of condition extension for this order of conditions, this development. So since,
And we gave you 1 year
correct,
to
get it going,
get it going.
yes, which worked.
Good.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
It worked very well. So, so here this evening, request an order of condition extension for this development. As you can tell, if you've driven by, construction has commenced. That the NRP is anticipating this will probably be about a 2-year build out. So here requesting an order of condition extension for 2 years. So I can, as you can tell, construction has commenced. Obviously, some of us have walked the erosion control line. They've started grubbing and stripping in here. They've roughed in this roadway. So there's construction activity going on. And then, if you recall, I was back before you guys to talk about the dewatering process for the cisterns.
Yep.
So,
How's that coming?
starting Friday,
Okay, so this is for the apartment.
This is
Right.
206.
65.
22,
Oh, the order of conditions number?
No, the
DEP.
DEP.
229.
229.
Yeah, 229. Yep, yep.
And this is for the apartment.
Correct, yep. So they do have their DEP signage on this, DEP signage
Excellent.
up. So this is being,
Order of conditions on site?
It is.
All right,
I
excellent.
believe the SWIP is on site.
Yes, oh,
I
so
had,
you,
I brought 2 copies.
excellent, but can you email these from now on to the conservation
I can,
instead of my
Sure.
email?
yep, I can do that.
Cause I will probably just save them digitally
Sure.
on the town server
Okay,
instead of printing them
So-
out every time.
sure, so I've submitted 2 SWIP inspections for the first to approve the erosion control line itself, and then we had that rain event with a couple Thursdays ago.
Yeah.
I came back and walked the line again. so
Excellent,
really-
and how'd it do with the melting and everything?
Good,
Good.
yeah, went well.
All
Yeah,
right.
well, so I was gonna here just for kind of request the order condition extension and just kind of give you a summary of where we're at and anticipated construction schedule. So they said they've started, if you guys are picture people,
Yeah.
when you go on.
You're in color?
I do have one in color actually. So,
Actually, you
if
wanna
you
see
recall, if you
this?
remember this exhibit,
Probably.
this is, if you can see, this is where the cisterns will be installed. That they excavated this temporary settling basin. All these overflow devices are installed. So hopefully, the goal is to start excavation of this tomorrow and potentially Friday. Put the sump in and start pumping. So per our geotechnical information, they're anticipating groundwater gonna be about 8 feet down. So we're gonna kind of dig down to about 8 feet, set up,
See what
and then,
happens.
and then start dropping sumps and pump it, so we're gonna pump into a sack, one of those big silt sacks kind of things,
Mhm.
overflow into this settling basin, then we have we have an overflow here, and then a big stone settling basin here.
Okay,
And then we're gonna see how this goes, and we have, obviously, we have other areas to work with on if we're exceeding flows. So exceeding flows, then I might have to basically call you guys. How do you wanna
Please
handle
do.
it? How do you wanna handle this?
Yeah, absolutely,
Right,
keep
that
us in the
means- Right,
loop.
that's
Yeah.
that's where we're at. So hopefully over the next 3 weeks.
Right, so these are dug. Is this dug?
No, we're gonna basically.
Right, you guys were
yeah,
kinda counting on
I
this.
upsized this.
Right,
So I upsized this, so per our model, basically this thing's gotta be about 10,000 square feet, about 2 feet deep. That's what our, they're basically telling that they're hoping if all goes well or bad, that they could be pumping up to about 1 million gallons a day.
right,
So this has been sized to handle 1 million gallons.
right.
What, you got the permanent fire protection, how many gallons is in that? That's permanent, full,
Correct,
right?
yeah.
How many gallons in that?
300,000?
So why, I
350?
don't understand what the overflow stuff is, why would that overflow?
Just for the digging of this hole.
Just basically
Oh,
just.
you, just the
set the
excavation
tank.
aspect, all right, all
Oh,
right.
moderation only.
All right,
Basically,
yeah,
these tanks are 15 feet down and
yeah,
then,
I understand
got
that,
it now?
yeah,
So here, so
yeah,
basically, these are about 15 feet down and
Yeah.
then the sump on this one's about 20 feet
okay,
down.
yeah, all right.
So that's what we're gonna, they're gonna set these, the goal is to set these 3 hopefully the next week or so, 2
Mhm.
weeks. And then these are gonna follow the next few days later. That's game 1.
Right.
And obviously then,
The tanks will be installed, it'll be
Backfilled.
filled in, and then none of those should be needed.
correct.
Right.
Correct. Then it's gonna be kind of working, this is the view, here's the site over here, Rotary, daycare. Is start here, building A3, maybe be A4, somewhere over here.
Mhm.
To start with this site work, put in this road, basically also then start expanding, I call it the dog bone basin, the basin that's kind of shaped.
Mhm.
Start on that activity. Also, then they'd like to start on the clubhouse. We'll see, that's got the biggest amount of fill, so we'll see how activity goes. And then kind of just keep working our way down left as you guys are looking at, or right away.
And my understanding is that they're not doing the retail space in front, at
That
least
is-
as of this
That
point?
is correct. That is, the retail space is basically the Sennies. So basically,
Oh, right, but okay.
so this is NRP, obviously R6, with
Mhm.
the little coffee shop, Red Barn. So this will be, all this will be constructed, and then.
That's right, I forgot they sold the property.
Yes, yep,
Yep.
past papers and right around Christmas,
Yeah.
right around that area. So, there's been a couple, we've had multiple concepts on this, so there's activity on that, and that's where we're at.
So my only question for you my fellow members was.
Uh-oh, right,
Yeah.
right, ready to
Right.
leave?
He's trying to be that kind. It's not something. Oh,
I'm
brother.
scared.
Payback.
So my first thought was, do we want to check the flagging for this, for an extension? It's been 3 years.
Yeah, so basically, per your order of conditions, one of the conditions was us to actually reflag the resource area. So just before Christmas, that all the BBWs been reflagged.
Well, we looked at that a couple weeks.
Well, that's,
Yeah,
as you
sure.
were kind of describing
Yep.
what we had done, I'm like,
Yep.
oh, I think you'd been out there recently, so yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, as part of this development, we've moved farther away from the buffers than originally permitted. That's actually a little bit less impervious, so. Try,
Keep
we
going.
try.
Keep going.
Yeah, we can do the retail space.
So when
Yeah.
when were the wetlands reflagged?
It was between Thanksgiving and Christmas, something that I did.
Okay, so
Early winter.
early.
Thank you. Yes. So,
So Larry did send me digitally, can I have that? The filing, so I do have the extension prepared. If everybody is in agreement that we should extend this order
Yes,
of conditions.
despite the fact he didn't bring his
We
food.
don't know if we have much
I know.
choice.
did I bring
Food.
food? You didn't tell me.
I know.
John
It's just
always wants
understood.
snacks.
Okay. Are you like a sugar guy?
Chocolate chip cookies are his thing.
I'll eat anything.
Okay. I will be back. Actually, it's something, no, it's something else, actually.
Oh, when? Okay.
To be determined.
I don't see any reason to not extend it.
Right.
And
Agreed.
if you're prepared, I don't know.
Like you said, everybody have a choice.
Right.
Well, you always have a choice.
What are you gonna do for us if we extend it?
Food.
Would you like-
The heck with the food, we usually get mitigation money to buy.
Mitigation.
I think we have boat has sailed on this project. Well, I need a motion
I move
and a
that we
second.
approve
Second.
the extension of this order of condition.
For 2 years?
Right, so
Yeah,
I
I think so.
extend to, so the last one was extended till March 18th, 2019. So, March 18th, 2021.
And again, the 2 years is because.
Basically, they anticipate basically a 2-year construction schedule, kind of full build out.
Yeah, that's
Okay, what was the other thing that you handed
I
down?
submitted 2 of our stormwater pollution prevention plan inspection forms.
Oh, okay.
Which will be weekly, right?
It's gonna be, well, it's every 2 weeks, and it makes a rainfall event of greater than quarter inch. And then I'll probably be there, now that dewatering's kinda going on, I'm probably gonna be there bi-weekly, checking in on that pumping process.
Okay.
Okay, what is this called?
Which one?
This,
I would just call it, maybe just call it like construction inspection report
Oh,
or
okay.
SWIP inspection report. Do you want me to check in any certain period of time? I can bring your treats. Or like every couple months, just kind of come in, or?
Don't stop down
Well,
and have
we meet
dinner with
twice
you
a
once
month.
week.
You do,
Okay.
very fortunate.
How can we never?
So the motion has been made.
No, with the generators for now, they don't have temporary power yet.
No?
No.
Wow.
It's coming.
Motion has been made and seconded.
Thank you.
John,
Of course.
I thought I heard that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of extending the order of conditions until March 18th, 2001?
I,
2000.
21?
21, sorry.
I caught that.
Yeah.
I got that.
Right.
2021.
21, right. I mean, right.
Alright.
We have a big truck generator out there?
I'm not sure what they're gonna do yet. If this is all, literally, that just, that we'll find out.
Yeah, wow.
It's a coming.
That's a good sized pump, that might buy.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be 4 pumps, I think.
Oh, what's the date on these plans?
I don't know. These are actually snippets. These actually, the latest plan set is actually dated, today.
Hot off the press.
Yeah. Do you want periodic construction updates, or how do you guys?
Sure. Yeah, definitely, especially, you know, with the ground frozen, it's not quite as big a deal.
Right.
But,
No, right.
you know, in the spring,
Come mud season?
come mud season,
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Steve,
not gonna be this
for
green?
you.
It's not gonna be this green?
No.
Hopefully, yeah,
Hopefully,
eventually.
yeah.
What
But,
type of plants are you putting in?
It's a variety. Actually, I didn't really cover the landscape archery component. There was basically a lot of ornamentals, some natives. We have a little bit drought tolerant.
No bittersweet.
yeah, we don't have to plant that.
No. No.
The birds will take care of that for us. All right, excellent. And who wants to make copies?
I'm not sure I can figure it out though.
Oh, I'm sure
How many
you can.
copies?
2. Please.
Okay.
All right,
And you all.
you're welcome, thank you.
When will they start occupying the hotel across the street?
That's a great question.
Oh, it's so
Yeah, is it
What's
open?
happened?
I don't think it's open yet. I think they've punched out all the floors but one. I think they've had a few ADA walkway
Oh,
Issues?
discrepancies,
Oh, really?
so rectify,
inside or outside?
outside.
Outside.
So we're rectifying a few of the handicap ramps on that. I hope very soon,
Mm.
you know, so.
Hmm.
It's taking a little longer than we all anticipated.
They usually do, don't they?
So, yeah, some do.
Yeah.
Where did I notice another one of those hotels today? There's another.
In Worcester, there's one in Worcester.
In
We're
Worcester.
right on 190, is it 290 Stevie? I see the,
Yeah,
the
it's
dock.
it's actually right across from Union Station.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess that's where it was. Yeah, up there.
it's right on the rotary, the
Must have been,
diagonal.
yeah.
right across.
They just started one in campus, we were just in campus.
Really, yeah.
Mm.
All right, excellent. So as soon as John comes back, I will hand you a
Wow.
copy. I know, right?
I'm scared.
Uh-oh, oh boy.
I'm the keeper.
You are the keeper,
Oh.
yes. Uh, Well, it's helpful. All I had to do was cut and paste the new
That's
date,
helpful.
really.
Yes, true.
Um,
Thank you.
But it's helpful to have a heads up digitally as well as just having something mailed. That way I can get it done. Thank you, sir.
Copies, she said.
Good work,
Okay.
John.
So,
Tough stuff.
for you, the original
Outstanding.
copy for file.
Great,
All right.
thank you all.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Larry.
you.
See you shortly.
Yes.
Good night.
Thank you.
See you later.
Thank you very much.
All right, next on the agenda. We can sign the Highland Ridge order of conditions. I wrote the additional orders of conditions. Emailed them to, I guess she was with Larry, yeah. Emailed them to Pat, had him look it over for clarity and to make sure it was inclusive. You know, if it included everything we should be concerned about. He helped me polish them up a little bit, but they look good. Anybody care to take a glance before we sign?
What number? Island Bridge?
Yeah.
Highland Ridge additional orders of conditions.
I talked to Pat, you know, and he said that everything's good as far as he's
Yep.
concerned.
It was
Really?
basically,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah. There's even a
um,
stream there, he said if they wanted, it's really an intermittent stream, but they, you know,
but it's on the
200 foot thing.
USGS.
Right, it's on the
as
USGS. so-
perennial.
Right, so is this an additional order of condition, or?
So it's the additional page
Oh,
that
okay.
we include with the order
Oh,
of
okay.
conditions. Right.
So is this gonna be like our standard going forward, or is it?
I'm
what's-
trying to develop a standard and then modify it to each site as needed. So that we, you know, can, and I saved them, so I have the OOC saved, filled out on my computer with a copy of that.
Yeah, that's.
So, right.
Yep,
Mhm.
great.
So I'm trying to get
So this is DEP number is 0240?
01, I'm sorry, 42401, which is Highland Commons.
Oh, okay.
0241, right, is that what you're?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Silence.
No, that's not right. Because Highland Ridge is, I've got 0241. You said 2401.
Yeah, that's what we're doing, Highland Ridge.
Right, but it's 0241.
Oh, I'm sorry,
you
what did I
write-
say? Did I?
2401.
Yeah, there was something, you had next to
sorry.
or something in there. Do you wanna see this, or?
Okay,
241.
right.
Boy, you picked that up, didn't you?
Boy.
I know, sorry.
Wow.
Couldn't be bad. That would be a lot of orders of condition, or DEP numbers. I mean, Berlin would be completely built out if we were on 200 and
Right, 2000.
400,
Yeah.
right. We could all retire because there would be no more issues to deal with.
I got, doing some maps with Central Mass, as long as we're talking about that. So I got from the assessors have a list of every house built in Berlin from the date it was built by street. The first one was in 1720-something. And the house I own across from Village Power there was the 11th house built in town.
Wow.
In 1767. So it has it by centuries, and it goes, you know, just creeps up, and then about 90 it went up, and then this past,
Yeah.
since 2010, it's just, you know,
Gone crazy.
going crazy. I'll, if I didn't copy you on it, I'll make sure I copy everybody. It's just interesting to look at it, you can,
That's nice.
it's on Excel, so you can organize it any way you
Yeah.
want.
But I'm trying to.
Yeah, 'cause I have her, a copy of hers at home.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So this should be filed with the Portage also, so this goes together. Okay, so everybody's good with this and we'll sign it? Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Yes, we're fine with it.
Yeah,
Well,
fine.
we already have voted on this, I just.
Your silence is an order of approval? You started out so rowdy, now we're going down that
I
fast.
know.
Just expended all our energy, it's like,
Yeah.
nothing left.
Showbiz takes a lot out of
The
you.
year I
It's
built
film.
my house in
Yeah.
77,
Mhm.
there were 5 other houses built in Berlin.
Say that again?
When I built my house in 77,
Oh, that year.
that year,
There
there
were
were only
5
5
others.
other
Wow.
houses built.
Well, this, you can look at this list I see,
Yeah.
and I'm sure, yeah.
All right.
We have bylaw, you know, but issue so many permits for you.
We did, we,
Did have something
yeah.
like that, right?
and we do again.
Okay.
We suspended it during the downturn
Oh.
in 2007, 2008, something like that. But last town meeting, we voted to reinstate it. But unfortunately, it doesn't cover 40Bs,
Gotcha, right.
so.
Okay, what was that we reinstated?
The bylaw only issuing a certain number of building permits per year.
Hmm.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
first half of
40B
it's here,
in a
Carol.
lot of
Yeah.
towns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know that I feel like getting into the Earth Day trash bag, so we maybe just skip that till next meeting.
Done.
Yeah.
It's not that
Oh,
urgent.
just, I got a message from Florence of Holyoke about getting together and starting to organize over Earth Day,
Okay,
so I will
and so
meet
you
with
will
her.
do that?
Right.
Excellent.
Okay, so no
Two copies,
discussion
please.
on Earth Day?
Liz is not here tonight.
Terrible.
I'll do
Terrible.
that.
It's conspiracy. Double-sided is fine.
Sure.
You can put in for mileage.
Except.
We won't approve it,
make
but you can put in for mileage.
Right, just make sure the last two pages are a separate page, because that's the additional orders of conditions.
So
Though that can be two-sided, but it needs to be a thin piece of paper, not the backside of that piece of paper.
Gotcha.
All right, so, let's talk about the annual town meeting warrant items. So we have 4. Right, the first one is the Wendler purchase.
Yeah.
Second one is the single-use plastic bag ban, of which I think I finished hammering out the language on today.
Yeah, till next Monday to do it, so.
Yep, so,
Yeah.
so I'm trying to work with Hudson.
They were looking sideways.
Because we're trying to do this as a joint effort with Hudson, I sent this to the, they have a citizens group and the conservation agent. And so I sent this to them and we kind of hashed out, they actually had some really good ideas. So that what we hopefully pass and what they put on their warrant and hopefully pass is the same language essentially.
Makes sense.
Especially for clarity for the people up at Highland Commons. It should all be
Be nice, it's the same.
Yeah.
essentially the same.
Right.
So the only thing that that I'm not 100% happy about is the rollout date. Because when we started talking with them, their warrant was like closing that week for their Springtown meeting.
Mhm.
So they can't put it on for their Springtown meeting, so they have to do it in the fall.
Mhm.
We don't wanna wait too long, but we were trying to, time it with them, so half the stores up at Highland Commons
Don't have to do it and have to.
have a bag ban and half don't.
Right.
Could we state it that ours would go into effect when they pass theirs?
We could,
Right.
but
If
if
it
we
doesn't
make it contingent, exactly, if we make it contingent, then if they don't pass it, then we don't have it.
Right.
So, cause I did think of that. So right now, what I have written here, and I wanted to discuss this and we should vote on this, is January 1st, 2020. That gives, and what they are proposing to do is have the larger stores in Hudson. Cause everybody, especially up at Highland Commons, is gonna know about this, when we pass it.
Mhm.
That gives everybody a lot of time to get used to the idea, to prepare for it. The theory is that Hudson will have their larger stores January 1st, and then smaller stores get an additional 3 to 6 months. And it will probably be kind of chaotic for a while, but everybody will, I think, settle out
Yeah,
after a little bit.
gonna have to.
Yeah, exactly.
I can remember when there were no plastic bags, people got along all right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So do you feel this will pass here?
I think so. I mean, I don't see, there's not really enough stores, first of all, that it will be an inconvenience. I think through past things, support of conservation land, support of being a green town, you know, there's definitely an environmental awareness. And, you know, 90 communities in Massachusetts have already passed this, and more are, and there is a proposal at the state level to do it anyway. So,
Don't they
So
give out
is-
the marijuana in little plastic bags?
pardon?
Don't they give out the marijuana in little plastic bags?
That was high school.
Oh.
Or they clean up dogs?
So-
Yeah, but you can buy, so that was very interesting, so I was talking with Pam Helnick over in Hudson. She's going to talk to both of, they have a Petco and a PetSmart, about both of them carrying biodegradable dog pickup bags.
Mhm.
So then if people actually leave them in the woods, it won't be as
Yeah,
big a
I know,
deal.
I know.
Right.
Oh,
Um,
ridiculous.
Just don't
Yeah.
use them at all, period.
Right,
So what about when you go buy cold cuts? They put those in
So,
plastic
right,
bags.
so-
When you buy a thing of fish, say, or
right,
whatever.
no, so, that will still be allowed.
Mhm.
Thin filmed plastic bags used to contain dry cleaning, newspapers, produce, meat, bulk foods, wet items, and other similar merchandise typically without handles are still permissible.
Without handles, yeah.
Right, so that's kind of the distinction, that honestly was the biggest sticking point about how to
Yeah.
Holes in it.
define what
Yeah.
is.
Mm.
Yeah, you might, I just wanna go back to
I
this. You
remember
said
when they used to
without
wrap it
handles.
in paper.
Yeah.
So if you go to
Bags without
BJ's
handles,
now and you
right.
buy the plastic, it comes in a plastic bag, you buy the roasted chickens.
Well, they're in plastic containers, not bags.
Oh, I thought.
No,
it
no,
was the
they're
handle you pick 'em
in
up?
plastic containers now.
Oh, okay, they changed it.
Until he does a little shopping.
Yes.
It's almost like.
I shop there.
Yes, actually,
You go-
Mark,
you
yeah.
see more and more, you see places giving out, or even at least selling carry bags. You
Yeah.
know, we were
Yep.
at Wegmans
Yep.
today, and half the customers brought their own bags and
Yep.
stuff. We
Yep.
always do.
And, every chain store that's either in Marlboro or Hudson already has a location somewhere else in the state
Mhm.
that
Right.
that has a plastic bag ban.
Mm.
So internally, they've already figured this out. So, you know, and that's why they're giving the smaller stores a little bit more time to use up their inventory and figure out what their next move is. So just, I won't read the whole thing, but basically, you know, the intent is to not use plastic bags. And then it defines what a checkout bag is. It defines which stores, so any commercial enterprise, whether for profit or not, you don't need to write all this down.
No, just you reviewed the article.
Including but not limited to restaurants, pharmacies, convenience and grocery stores, liquor stores, seasonal and temporary businesses, jewelry stores, household goods stores. However, this does not include bazaars operated by profit organizations or religious institutions. So like St. Joseph's Fair, you know, if someone there is, it's just that one time.
First page, the same thing.
Yeah. Reusable checkout bag is defined as a bag with handles made of cloth, fabric, or other durable machine washable fabrics other than polyethylene or polyvinyl chloride that is specifically designed for multiple uses. It shall also be specifically designed and manufactured for a minimum of 175 uses and can carry 25 pounds over a distance of 300 feet. You wouldn't believe what it took to get that. But-
You came up with that yourself?
No,
Oh.
that was some
Plagiarized it.
stealing of some wording and then some negotiating back and forth.
Right.
Read that again, so what is that, what is the point of that?
The point is to define what a
Okay.
reusable checkout bag is. So, there was language in there saying it had to be a sewn bag with stitched handles, and I'm like, no.
But does that cover the ones that are the woven fabric of the, almost like a, I didn't hear it, that's why I'm stopping, the ones that Hannaford has now, and it's like a grain bag.
Yeah, it's like tie back.
Is that, because those are reusable and,
Are
That's-
they machine washable?
no, I wouldn't think so. There's spot wash.
Which bags are those?
The ones that you get at Hannaford, and lots of people take actually their old grain and.
Yeah, it's
seed
actually,
bags
I
and
have
make them-
two
yeah,
seed
yeah.
bags, yeah.
They work, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah.
They're strong, they work really, they're really
Yeah,
good.
I don't think so.
I'd hate to not be able to use those.
I will
because-
make sure that whatever those are made of doesn't,
Is that like
isn't
the bird-
excluded here,
Yeah.
because yes,
Yeah.
like I said, I have
Does
two.
that
like
include
the water-
birdseed
the-
bags?
Birdseed bags?
Yeah, green
Yeah,
bags.
not the plastic ones, but the ones that, they're filaments that are woven together.
Right.
that- Yeah.
Right,
so
some
it's-
tie back,
right.
well, but it's not tie back,
No.
it's,
No, it's not tie back. It's something
yeah,
else. It is grain bags, it is
Right.
waterproof.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, those are nice
Good
heavy
deal.
duty.
I
No,
know.
the machine was misbehaving.
Because they take a long time.
It was, yeah, no, the first time through those, it, like the backside copy was 180 degrees.
Ooh.
I couldn't figure out why it did it, and then,
We get copies, thank you.
Yeah.
good
Copy
job, though.
machines are the
Ask
big-
Eloise
Right,
next time if you
right.
have it.
well, I don't know why it would do that. It would, like, it rotated, it already was set up wrong, so that when I put it in those little ones, it like, somebody had widened the tray out.
Ooh, yeah.
It's got too many variables. So I broke it. So we have to get a new one.
Perfect,
Excellent.
tax dollars worth.
There you go. So we're talking about the language of the plastic bag ban.
Do you agree with what she just read?
Yes.
It's very boring.
It is very boring, I agree. I agree, try writing it.
So is this pretty consistent with some of the others? I mean,
Yes.
I know Framingham banned them, a while
Yeah,
ago. and I'm
so
just
a
curious
lot
as-
of that definition is a hybrid of Lunenburg's language and Cambridge's language.
Okay.
I tightened it up from Lunenburg and loosened it up from
I
Cambridge.
was gonna say, those are two
Yeah,
Yeah,
different.
makes sense,
exactly, yeah. So that's, kinda
Mhm.
how we came to that. The other thing is enforcement. So the Board of Selectmen or the town administrator, because we will have one of those at some points, or his or her designee, so they can decide it's going to be the building inspector or the fire chief. These are things that Hudson was talking about as to who would be their enforcement agent. But basically, here in town, it would be the Board of Selectmen can do it themselves, the town administrator, or one of those bodies can designate somebody. Board of Selectmen shall determine the inspection process to be followed, incorporating the process into their own town duties as appropriate. Any retail establishments distributing thin film, single-use plastic bag bans in violation of this bylaw shall be subject to criminal disposition fine. First offense is a warning, second offense is $50, third and subsequent offense is $200.
Where does
And
money
that is
go?
for stores giving out.
Can we get that money in open
Where does
space?
that money go?
Oh, and then the money, to the town, shall be paid to the town of Berlin.
Conservation.
Like any other ticket.
Yeah,
Right, like any other ticket.
Sounds good to me.
you know, it's a big user of the really
Yeah, that's it.
thin plastic bags, is a newspaper. Every single day, my paper
Hard to
is
read.
Yeah,
in a plastic bag.
well, that's right, mine does too,
Right.
but that,
Your newspaper?
Mhm.
Yeah, and that will still be allowed.
Right, but,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's 365 plastic bags per person,
Right.
per year.
Yeah.
Right.
But nobody reads newspaper.
I do just online.
So yours doesn't come in a plastic bag.
No.
That's why it's interesting how full circle, you know, I remember, like Walter was saying, growing up, you didn't have bags, everything was a paper bag, they had it, you walk out of the store with your thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you can't go out of the store, you might be shoplifting, you gotta have it in a bag, you gotta have a receipt, you gotta have this, and then
Yeah.
it's,
Right,
everything
and
took
now
plastic,
it's
and now it's full
certain,
circle.
yeah.
Right.
I don't need a bag, I don't need that.
Yep.
You know?
All right, excellent, so,
The only thing is about that green bag, is it does say washable.
Right. yeah, well, that
Well,
is.
it is hand washable.
It
I
is
mean, it's
hand
water
washable, right,
so-
so maybe we just take out the word machine.
Yep.
And just make it washable.
Spit shined.
Right, yeah,
there you go.
yeah, I mean, and that's the nice thing about it, it's easy to clean, you know,
Right.
from the washing machine, you just.
And mine
Buzz
has a
wash.
big chicken on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
sister,
Oh, darn.
somebody near my sister makes them,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
got it as a,
They're cool, I
Christmas
love
birthday,
it.
yeah.
Mine was given to me too.
yep. Okay, so, do I have a motion? Do we need a motion? Do we need to vote as to whether this is the document we are submitting
I move we submit that article to the selectmen for
for the town?
the town warrant, annual
Okay.
town warrant.
Second.
And we do need a vote,
Okay,
for they'll ask for
Okay,
it.
what's
Right.
the word, you move, we what?
accept.
Yeah, whatever you want. I move that we submit this article to the selectmen for inclusion on the annual town warrant in 2018
Right,
town.
so
warrant.
we're all okay with January first?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
2020.
right.
Yeah, actually, it's 2019 warrant, it's 2018 town report. Okay.
It all gets so confusing. Okay,
It is.
all those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Oh, who seconded?
me,
John?
Who else?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Second banana over there. Okay, good. So we have a couple more things we need to vote on.
The land tax
The,
article.
right, so Walter submitted handwritten and Mary typed up and sent to us. I just don't know how to, I mean, I can
Yeah, I
email
can-
this
I
to
can
all of
do
you.
this. No, what, first of all, the articles aren't submitted by us to the selectmen. I only did it because Dennis handed them to me, but Dennis, the tax,
So Dennis
he's in
wrote them.
charge of it.
Right.
So Dennis is submitting these to the selectmen. He
Oh.
asked me today, did the commission vote on it? And I didn't remember.
I
couldn't
see,
remember.
so that's
let's
why
look.
we're involved with
Right.
it,
We
okay.
did vote on
We did vote on those?
Did we vote, because it wasn't, when we were
It wasn't
reading the
on our
minutes,
side.
right,
Yeah,
so
but we
let's
did
just
vote
vote
on-
again, just to
Yeah,
cover
we
our
did vote
butts,
on it
because,
Because we actually
Yeah,
put
because
the,
I usually write it down.
What are we
and I
talking
didn't
about?
write either
The
one
tax
of those.
title land.
Let me,
I thought we already
Yeah.
voted on
read
it.
we
this.
did,
Okay,
we did vote on it.
But it wasn't in the minutes that we voted on it, so.
We picked out those 7 or whatever it is that I
Just
just
change
right,
the
we
minutes.
picked them, we never
no,
voted on
we're just
them.
gonna vote again, because
Right.
there's actually one of the,
Whoop.
Right, we didn't formally vote on them,
Yeah.
we just said we're going to submit those, we never vote,
Okay.
right.
all right,
Okay, all right. Want to submit this, Dennis wants to submit this article, he wants us to vote on it so that he can say that the commission wants this.
Fine.
So it includes, to see if the town will vote to transfer 8 parcels of tax title land listed below from care, custody, and I'll go over these on the map if you want, they're the ones we talked about. Care, custody, and control, and management of the town's tax.
turn it and make it bigger.
Yeah. Thank you, you're very helpful.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. All
Stop
right.
thinking of that.
Article X, whatever it's gonna receive, the town will vote to transfer 8 parcels of tax title land listed below from the care, custody, and management of the town tax title custodian, which is Dennis, to the care, custody, and management of the Berlin Conservation Division for conservation purposes pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 48C, and Article 97, the amendments of the Massachusetts Constitution, and to authorize the town treasurer, tax title custodian, to exercise and record deeds transferring said parcels to the Conservation Commission for conservation purposes. The
So would
one-
that go to the open space fund?
This is
No.
land.
This is
Land.
land, this is
Not money.
parcels of land being transferred
okay.
to us.
Rather than sold.
Most of them are down on Dudley Road, 1, 2, 3, 4, they're on Dudley Road.
Here, I'll read out the addresses and you'll,
It's the ones we went through last meeting.
pretty much,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
not pretty much, exactly.
Exactly.
And they're the ones that, and then you email Dennis
I
the
emailed
list.
Dennis a copy to CC on it.
Right.
Trust me. we're
Right,
doing
yeah,
it.
so it's 4
Oh,
on
wait a
Dudley, 1 on Boylston Road, 1 on Allen Road, 1, Surrey Hill Road, Hog Swamp, and Lancaster Road.
The one on Lancaster Road is a piece way up here.
Yep, that was one of them.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Yep,
Okay,
that was on our list.
excellent. Then the other thing that Dennis would like us to approve.
No, he did
Should we
on this,
vote on
that's
each
the
one
selectmen, it has nothing to do with
individually?
us. He'll take care of that. That isn't coming to us, that goes to the selectmen.
Okay, so then why
He
did
just wants
Mary send
permission.
it to me?
Well, because I
to-
sent him to her.
I see.
Gave him to her on behalf of Dennis.
Okay, all right,
So we
so
just
I
vote
will
on that.
clarify that.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so.
I move that we vote in favor
Of allowing
of allowing
Dennis.
Dennis to transfer those, what I just read
Second.
to us, tax title land. There you go.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Only moans about it, he ate it all.
Right.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Right, okay,
He wanted to get them off the rolls and everything.
Yeah.
so, yay.
So we probably should put on the list still that one that we walked.
What's that?
That wasn't on the list, that one that wants to swap.
Right, does that have to be done, that doesn't have to be done through town meeting though, right?
What
I don't
one's
know.
that?
We
Where-
had to swap on.
Next to
quite a bit.
Karen's old
Yeah,
house.
Karen's old house, the Lancaster Road, the one we were trying to swap the land by the road down.
Oh, yeah,
there.
that isn't on the list.
That's not
Yeah,
on
that's
the
not
list.
a tax.
So I just said we need to,
Right.
Yeah, we do need to do
if
that,
that guy's
but,
gonna do something or not, because otherwise, I'd like to make it happen.
right,
Mm.
yep,
Could we go back, Walter moved, we vote in favor of allowing Dennis to transfer
8
8 parcels.
tax title parcels to conservation.
Yes.
And if anybody wants to know what they are, they can look in the town warrant.
Right, it'll be
Yeah.
printed,
Yeah, so you
yeah.
don't have to write them all down.
All right, moving right
Let's
along.
vote on it.
Didn't we?
did.
We just did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, really, we're gonna double vote just to make sure.
We had a triple vote, we voted on last week, let's triple, let's vote again.
We didn't vote, because I could have written it down.
I don't know.
All right, either way, we have now
We
voted.
have now voted,
Right,
right.
the only other thing for me, well, it's not totally true, but, MACC conference. I have 2 classes left to finish up and become a certified conservation commissioner.
Go for
Which
it.
will surely double my pay.
Right,
Yes,
we'll double your
yes.
pay.
What
Yeah.
an ego she's gonna get, huh?
Yes.
Oh,
Push you now.
I know. That's why we have you over there kicking her.
Yeah.
Kicking her line.
And you had expressed an interest in maybe going.
Yeah, I haven't decided yet. I was trying to decide today, I ran out of time.
Okay, 'cause I have picked classes that I
Good.
think
Okay.
that, right, so all the ones that have asterisks
They
next
all have
to.
asterisks.
A fair amount of, none of the coastal stuff, no, I know, that's why,
You can't go to 2 classes
right,
at once.
I can't take any of these. These are the ones I have to do one of these and one of those, and then I will be
Then why
done.
did these all start?
Because I think those, well, because I'd like to take
Relevant
them
to
all.
Berlin, huh?
And they're relevant to Berlin. So, and you had mentioned maybe wanting to go,
Right.
and Liz had mentioned maybe
Right.
wanting to go.
Oh, God, you can have a party.
Well, a little bit. So, do we want to approve up to 4 members going?
Yeah, if you got the budget, and people wanna go.
Right.
and
No,
so-
no, it's more.
Right,
Why-
exactly,
why-
well, that's why we, exactly, so that's,
I don't know if we have to vote on it.
Right.
Okay, so I'll move that we allocate up to,
right, I mean, you guys aren't interested, are you in?
I
I
think.
just don't know. if I
Just
can-
say that we
Right.
agreed that
Yeah.
4 people, anybody that
Anybody
wants to
should go,
go.
I don't know why we have to write
Okay.
it down.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't have
Alright,
to write,
I
we'll just
just-
go.
Cause
Yeah.
we're spending money and
It's a yearly
wanna
event.
make sure it's
Right.
all,
It's part
yeah,
of our charter.
okay.
Did you-
So, yeah,
these
so I
stormwater-
think, well,
Were
go
these a
ahead.
combined course, the 205, 206?
Right, so the
Because that's what got
fundamentals.
me caught up on the website, is it said it said something like a 2-day thing, but it's only a 1-day conference.
These classes go towards the fundamentals, which is
Right,
the
but I was talking about
certificate
specifically
program.
about the erosion sediment control thing.
So
You didn't, you're gonna go to the midnight one?
I can't decide. I'm definitely gonna do the stormwater one for the morning,
That's
for the afternoon. Because I think that one's important too.
Yeah, because
Those two,
The
I
website,
would,
the website was, that's what caught me, I ran out of time, because it was confusing, because
Mhm.
it said it was like a 2-day course or something, it didn't make any sense. I'll try
that
to-
doesn't make sense, yeah. Right, so. Effective erosion and sediment control, stormwater requirements and wetlands protection is definitely the afternoon one I'm gonna do. And then the other two are getting home before midnight.
You don't have to make funny.
did you print that offline or?
No, this was mailed. Would you like to have this?
I'd like to take a
You
look
can
at
get
it.
it online.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Just go
well,
for it.
yeah, cause I can get it online.
Yeah.
okay. Do you want
If
this
you-
back?
No.
Okay. So you're thinking of doing the ones that are?
Yeah, I have to do the ones that are down at the bottom in order to finish my certification.
You don't have to.
The bottom,
these.
bottom.
You don't have to do the, it's not like college course, you don't have to do it in a row, right?
No, you can take,
Whatever.
I actually don't have to take those going to the conference, but if I wanna finish the
Yeah, I have enough
the
units.
thing and,
Yeah,
yeah,
enough units.
Oh, okay.
yes. So I've done the 5 core fundamentals and one of the kind of electives
Oh,
out
okay.
of the 3 that you have to do,
Okay, so you are taking these and none of these.
Come in.
sadly.
But these are the ones you would like to take.
Yes.
Okay.
Louise doesn't have a rabies thing for rabies time for relief?
Well, she's been to the vet, so, for when?
I assume the current year?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, I mean, yeah, sometimes it's 3 years, I don't know if she even got one this year. Okay, well,
Okay.
I get the
All right.
receipt, I'll get the.
Okay, all right, I'll just
Okay.
let her know.
I don't know why
Keep going.
the vet wouldn't have sent it.
Yeah,
I just want registered to vote.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Right, so we can
12.
choose our classes,
All right, these would overlap
Later.
what you have to take.
yeah, right. So, here, actually, let me just do this. Let me just take a picture of that, because maybe I will do 2 of the morning ones and do just the stormwater requirements
Oh, okay.
in the afternoon.
And then you would go
just
back
do, yeah,
Next year.
yeah. Or they offer them as webinars often too. Okay, so you can have that. All right, good. So vernal pools and John are the last 2 things that I really would like to talk about. Do you have,
Yeah, we're talking about your
let's talk
plan.
about John.
Let's talk about John.
It's time for an intervention.
He did mail that back. I picked it up tonight, the copy of the open space plan.
Oh, okay. I got a copy.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. So, do you wanna take that over?
Who are you talking to?
You, open space?
Yeah, right now?
We've got 10 minutes
All
till
right,
the
let-
posted time.
I did spend a few hours with the open space plan and this stuff that was given to us by Eric, was it, or something? Anyway,
No, give me Eli.
Eli, yeah, and just to
So
give you
from
an idea.
Central Mass
and it
Planning.
Definitely could be shortened. I'm going to give you an example of something, if I could find it.
It's gotta be a 3 or 4 year.
Yeah. She just says use the form. Or something, tell her she has them. I told her I had my shots, but she didn't.
You know, on these directions that he gave us, Eli gave us, they talk about the first section, and this matches pretty good with the plan, you can follow it along. And it says right here, you know, on the plan summary, for example, a brief summary of what's going on. Think of it as a quick understanding of the open space plan, you know, a half-page summary. Okay, here's that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages.
Yeah.
There's no need of it, you know, you read through it, it's out of place. So I think that's an example of the whole report. But I was going through, it takes a little bit of time, and then I got thinking, we're paying somebody $10,000 to do this, so I think, right.
Right, I think the hard part is,
It's a time consumer.
right.
I do want some input with it. Hey, Joel, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
Is giving them some direction as to what we
Yeah.
don't mind not being in there.
Yeah.
So,
The one thing that I think is gonna be an improvement, and I am working on this aspect of the whole maps and stuff, and like I said, I've been working with Central Mass Regional Planning and the assessors, and we'll have good maps showing the increase in protected land, for example. And just today, I got the Excel sheet from the assessors of, we're gonna match the increase in protected land with the increase in housing and land loss to development in those same amount of years. And then the other maps on endangered species, vernal pools, rivers, river corridors, all that stuff, all those maps will be available, better than what's in here. And that should be a pretty strong report. We can build a report around those maps, you know, but it gets in that level income percentage, and it doesn't apply to us almost, you know. So, anyway, that's what it is. If anybody wants to take this, they can. If not, I'll keep it a little while longer, and if I've got your permission, I'll in fact get a hold of Eli and have him come out here again.
Well,
You can
we've
just
already
sit down.
scheduled a meeting for.
Did we
the end of
schedule
March.
another one?
yeah.
When?
February, I have it written down at home.
I do too.
I can let you know.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the end of February sometime,
Oh, okay. We'll
Yeah.
do
The
that.
end
Yep.
of February.
Yeah.
Wednesday, the last Wednesday in February.
the 27th, yeah.
Right.
That's
Okay.
what I thought.
So anyway, that's that.
Cool.
Yeah. Space, yeah, so.
Oh, on, yeah,
go ahead.
okay, that's done. On the parking for our trailheads, I did talk to the highway superintendent, and he said they'll do it, the highway department will do them, so I'm gonna tell Mike
Excellent.
Sawyer that they'll
Great.
do it. So when the weather gets good, they'll, he said, oh yeah, no problem, we'll do them.
Wow.
So that'll be
I'd rather
good.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
So that meeting has to be posted, right? On-
Yeah, I'll do it. Well, I guess it depends on how many people are going. If we don't have a quorum,
Right.
We can post it anyway.
yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. And so Whaler Pond, I don't really know where the sister got in touch, left a voicemail with the town, with the selectman's office maybe?
Who did?
Remember the Wheeler Pond email that was going around for a while?
Oh, yeah.
And it's not that far back.
I bumped into them out here the other day, they're working on something, that, you know, they've gotta get something straightened out themselves before they're gonna come to us.
Exactly, right, so basically, they have gotten in touch with Molly. Molly had a meeting with them and basically said that, you know, it seems to be a family issue, and I explained kind of a summary of our interactions with them, so I think they're trying to not have it taken by the town, the land.
The land,
Right, because the brother hasn't been paying taxes on it.
okay.
So Dennis was ready to start kind of proceeding, and so we kind of let him know, we don't really want that. So,
Yeah.
Why don't they want the town to take it? That's
I
not
think the
curiosity.
brother wants the town to take it, I think the sister does not, so there's
not?
that family dynamic, right.
I mean, it's a reservoir swamp, I mean, why,
Well, it's also a failed
and a
dam,
failed dam, I mean.
right, exactly, so, which is
think
why
she
we
changed
don't
her
want
name.
it. Right, so, but we just, you know, I kinda let everybody know why we don't want it, at least currently.
Too many unanswered questions about it at this
Right.
time, and they, you know, the short story is they would like, everybody would like to give it to us now, but we don't want to, but if they don't get rid of it and they have to fix the dam, the brother will sell the house she's living in and she'll be outside.
Oh, is that,
That's why she's very interested in trying to figure out how to get the dam fixed, you know, it's,
Got it.
He's, I don't know where he's coming from, but poor, she's just so worried, she's sick
That's-
about it,
yeah.
you know.
So she lives in the same house?
Yeah, she lives in the house that Gigi lived in, on Main Street in Bolton. Yeah, the old family house. They'll have to sell that to fix the dam.
right.
They'll both be on the street.
All right, so, 8:30.
Yep.
You're up,
All right.
and,
Stand up, please, when you're giving it.
Yeah. No. You have to face the camera, smile,
so hold on one sec.
introduce yourself.
Are you,
This,
My name's Joel,
okay,
and I'm here to give you my project proposal.
oh, okay, okay, great. So we're gonna let John do his thing, which then will dovetail into yours.
and Jim's coming too, right?
He is. He said he'd meet me here at 8:30.
Yeah,
Okay.
You're just early.
I am early.
Punctual, which is nice,
Excellent.
unlike me.
I have a few of these just spin around. You guys can share.
We can.
Yep.
You guys can share these. So, as I mentioned last meeting, at the last MACC conference, at one of the trail talks, they advised setting up a standing order of conditions concerning trail maintenance, as it often intersects with wetlands so much. And rather than going about and doing it, you know, an NOI or RPA,
For each project.
for each project, just have a standing thing and say, you know, go ahead and do these things, and if there's any major stuff, like Joel's project, then we could, you know, have a presentation, but, not even have to do a new, NOI or OLC, or, because it's just.
RDA, yeah.
So, my next step then was on the, MACC website, they actually, the town of Weston has posted a lot of stuff that they'd already done.
They have tons and
So
tons of
I just
documents.
took I just followed one of their forms and filled out a blank form that would fit Berlin for the NOI. And also, I used a lot of their information regarding the narrative that accompanies the NOI and then the OC. And that's what the narrower paper is. I should have printed out more of those, sorry. So, I mean, the whole idea is that, you know, there's a lot of trails in the various protected lands of Berlin. They periodically need attention. Some of them could use attention that has been given in a long time, or it has never needed to be given until now. Hi, Jim. How's it going? You know, for example, just, you know, clearing down trees and brush and stuff, things that Walt and I have already been doing.
And we'll continue to do.
Yeah. So, but, you know, there are other areas in the trails where the trails are degrading or expanding because of water problems.
Right.
Not pipelines, but water problems.
No comment?
Not yet. So anyway, so I don't really know how it goes from this point forward, but you know, this NOI just sort of goes over that, it's similar to the one that Weston does. So then I suppose we would submit this to the
DEP.
DEP.
Yep. Well, I think we
Along
treat it
with
just
the-
like any other NOI.
Right.
We vote on it,
Right.
I mean,
and submit
you wanna
it.
keep in mind that actually, you know, the wetlands law allows for trails and wetlands without going through an NOI process. Like, I have one in my backyard, perfectly legal. I mean, it's a foot trail, they're doing handwork, they're not in with backhoes and bulldozers, and it's people working and cutting
Right.
trees, so it isn't a big deal. So I think that just going with this is
Yeah,
more than cover what we would ever wanna do, you know? This is.
So I mean, it's following the law, and just putting it in place, you know,
Mhm.
right.
for appropriate oversight and stuff like that. So we would submit the NOI along with the narrative, the way Wesley did. I think that'll help.
Sure.
Then. Questions?
So this isn't any, this is a blanket approval for on trails.
Right.
Correct.
And anytime a project is proposed, we review every individual project and agree or disagree with it.
Correct.
Okay.
Right, routine maintenance is covered. This is things like clearing fallen trees,
Yeah.
brush, some, you know, invasive species along the trail,
Mhm.
stuff like that. Water bars also included. You know,
Yep.
that's a topic for another meeting, but there's a lot of areas where those could be
Oh, yeah.
installed. And then, you know, boardwalk would have to be presented, but, you know,
Yeah.
would require a separate.
Yeah, the trails down on that, from Linden Street up to Mount Pisgah, they were ruined by ATVs and dirt bikes. They rutted those up, and then the water really got it, you know, big gullies in there. It's even difficult to walk up there right now. But they're never gonna change. Costs a lot of money to.
Well, it's interesting, because some of the areas that need the most work are up still on that private property.
Right as you go in,
Right.
that's the worst part.
Yeah, but, you know, we can't do anything about that. But uphill from where the stone bridge is, you know, there's some areas where actually water bars had been installed eons ago, but need to be redone.
I think this is great.
I would move that we accept this, or grant this notice of intent for request, which amounts to a blanket approval for doing routine maintenance on our woods trails. Conservation trails.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. Okay, so this needs to be filed
Yeah.
with DEP. I've never filed a notice of intent because we're always on the receiving end.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, John's handling it. Give it a
What do I do with this thing? Do I have to keep this?
That I'm gonna keep, because we're gonna have a file, just like we do, because a DEP number, I assume, is gonna be issued for
All right,
that.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I will figure it out. I even started, if you want, a sort of an OC associated with it.
oh, awesome,
If you want to look at that and get back to me. There's not much in it,
okay.
but, all right. Cool, thank you very much.
Well, you know what, I'm gonna let you keep this, and once,
I'll probably have to.
'Cause we're
talk
gonna have to
somebody on
sign
the phone.
that.
I'm gonna have to talk to somebody on the phone.
yeah. Yes,
Do it online.
Yeah, I wanna make sure yeah, I can. Yeah.
Right.
And I can do that probably this weekend. But,
Okay.
if I hit stumbling blocks, I'll just call.
okay, and I'll be around if you wanna pick my brain or whatever, but yeah.
Cool.
Show
all
them,
right.
show horses, don't show mountain bikes.
I know, that's a problem.
What you get there?
I said, it shows runners, it shows, people riding horses, but it doesn't show.
No, we don't
mountain
want them
bikes.
on it. Bad crew all the way around.
All right,
Arrogant.
so then,
So now we have our guests.
Yes.
Come on up, chair.
Sit.
yep,
Yeah,
Whatever
Have a
you're
seat.
comfortable with.
Jim, you two, bring up a seat.
hi,
Hi. So,
How you doing?
Walter knows me, my name's Joel Holtajohn, and, right now I'm a Life Scout, and I'm trying to get approval for my Eagle Scout project,
great,
which, I wanna build a boardwalk over a section of the trails on Mount Pisgah to prevent further water damage and erosion from foot traffic. Because currently what's happening is people are walking around the mud pit and creating secondary trails, which is just kind of destroying the area. And it's kind of just very unpleasant to walk through. So my proposition is a boardwalk 60 feet in length, about 4 feet wide, made of horizontal sleepers across the trail and then stringers down the trail, followed by decking on top, that people can walk over to try and save the area.
By any chance of a sketch in the Jim Barrett and Scoutmaster, the True Form Clinton, George happens to be in the True.
okay.
So what's the intention for cyclists and horses? They will go around this?
Well, I was actually speaking with Tamara Johnson from Maplewood Farm. The reason being is that she has better access to the trail because I'll obviously have to get materials to the
Yeah.
site. And she proposed that instead of making it 60 feet long, I instead make it slightly shorter and wider, which would allow horses to safely use such a boardwalk instead of having to go around it because the trail's not quite wide enough to have a 4-foot boardwalk and a section
I
that's
agree,
for horses.
that's why I was asking.
Right.
So how wide do you wanna make the boardwalk?
I said 4 feet, she wanted something more along the lines of 6 feet.
How about, I don't mean to get off on a tangent, but how about like 3 feet, and then she can do her horses beside that? My concern about the boardwalk is that the horses would hurt the boardwalk.
Yeah.
The amount, you don't have to worry about mountain bikers, they'll go right over it. The,
About what?
Well, they'll use
Mountain
they'll
bikers.
use the boardwalk as opposed to going next to it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, 3 feet, even at 3 feet width.
3 feet's plenty of room.
As I said, that 6 feet's gonna get kinda tight there, I would think, trying to get that trail and.
Well, her other concern was emergency vehicles, like if you need to get, I know sometimes gators go down there.
Again, I think the narrower, they could still go around that if it was narrower.
And it's necessary, obviously,
Right,
so.
right.
I do have some sketches of how it would be constructed if you want to look at it.
Yes.
Yes.
So these bottom 2 images are the kind of the construction. They illustrate how it's going to be constructed. And then the top 2 are of the site. So one's looking kind of down the trail, and the other's looking up the trail.
Thank you.
Alright.
One, pictures actually has that big slab of stone that's the bridge.
So this is, if you're looking at the bridge, looking upstream, this is to the left as it goes up Mount Pisgah, right? That rut going up there.
Yeah, right.
So the boards would lay directly on the ground, or it would be elevated?
The sleepers would be on the ground, that's gonna be 6x6 PT logs essentially. And then I was thinking 2x8 stringers across the sleepers.
Okay,
that
and
would
how-
go lengthwise along the trail. And then the decking would be in the same direction of the stringers.
Right, so
Or of
this-
those sleepers.
So the sleepers would be how
I
many
was-
feet apart?
I was thinking 10 feet apart. I could obviously, it's obviously not set in stone.
Right.
So
I guess,
to give you an idea of what bureaucracy and politics are like, I'm gonna give you a shot between the eyes. I know what you're talking about there. And, to me, I would throw some brush in the middle of the road and I'd have a path go off the side of the path, go up. There's nothing wrong with that as opposed to putting a boardwalk on, but there are plenty of places we need a boardwalk. But I've walked that for years, and, yeah, you get these, you know, different lines of traffic, but I know the rut you're talking about. I'd throw some brush in there, and people have been using the right side of it, and I'd almost mark that as the trail to go up, as opposed to doing a structural intrusion into there.
Yeah, I don't think that'll work.
Yes, it will work, of course it'll work.
No, because what'll happen is that, what's already happening is that the trail area is widening, and it's continuing to widen because of the water and
And
erosion.
getting wetter and wetter and wetter.
And so as they get up farther on the ridge, they just break that down, and that becomes part of the larger sort of swampy area. You know, the trail probably had started off at, 2 or 3 feet wide, and now it's like 12 feet wide in some places. And it just, people go along the edges, they just keep beating that down, and it becomes part of the swampy area.
right, it keeps getting wetter and wetter.
So if you build a boardwalk, it allows that land, plants to grow back in there, grasses and stuff. And it actually stabilizes the land there and prevents further erosion.
These stringers do act like water bars.
Well, so that's why I was asking. I would like to see it almost, the sleepers double height, so that it's not, so that the stringers aren't sitting at ground level or even a little bit above, and that they're blocking the movement of the water underneath.
Oh, that's the point, right?
Well, we had talked a little bit, Joel and I, about maybe even having those at somewhat of a slight angle, instead of having them, straight across them, just so that the water can actually kind of almost like follow a gutter line down, stopping water in between the,
Right.
yeah, because they'd be
Right.
6x6s essentially that you'd put it on.
Right.
And then you'd put just, decking on, or boards and decking on top of that. I think one of the things, and we hadn't talked about it, but when we were up there, is trying to not have the boardwalk so high that you have to have, a set of stairs to get on top of it and a set of stairs to
Right.
get off of it.
Put a railing on it, you get it up certain.
Right.
Well, and
Right.
so
Yes.
that's a pretty flat section of the trail, so it's a matter of trying to figure out how high those stringers wanna be
Right.
on top of that 6 foot, six by six.
Right, and that's also gonna determine the length of the distance between the sleepers for structural stability.
And we can certainly check with any building inspector just to see what they
Right.
recommend. It shouldn't be an issue.
You people can figure that out.
Yeah, that's, yeah, that's,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it's
Right.
not gonna carry any load but people for the
Right.
most part.
So I guess my
Right.
concern would just be making sure that the water's not blocked
Yes.
from moving side to side.
Right, that's the whole idea of a sleeper.
Right,
Right. So, whether it's a, 60-degree angle or a 50-degree angle, or 90-degree angle, the sleepers sit this way,
right.
the boards are above them, so
Right.
there's gonna be flow underneath.
So if it's swampy, I guess so you've got a 6x6, you've got 4 inches of muck that you're putting
Sometimes
this
you have to
down
put one
into.
on a sleeper
But
on
so
top of it.
that, I guess, was more my point.
Correct?
Yes.
I don't mean to
Right,
forget.
Well, the plan is, like, there's no way to really tell if in certain spots we're gonna need more than one sleeper.
right,
So I imagine the solution to that would be just to have a few extra stringers up at the trailhead, and then we just see that one of them is sinking, we just add another sleeper.
Because part of that may be that, I'm not sure, I mean, having walked up that trail where the ledge is underneath the ground at any particular point, that
Sure.
may dictate how far down you can actually go on that trail.
Right.
Have you walked around the Brewer Brook site?
Brewer Brooks.
Yeah, I suggest you take a walk around there and look at the bridges and everything around there. I mean, they're perfectly adequate. People use it every day, and it's, you know, you don't need 6-foot wide things. The horses can walk through the mud once in a while. There aren't that many horses up there, you know,
I
but
think
take a look at that and just go in where the dam is off of, you come out of Jones Road, and then up across where the, where you park and go into Brewer Brook Dam, just walk around it and see what's in there. Because, keep it pretty simple.
So what, that farm they were referencing, what was the name of that?
Maplewood Farm?
Is that place with that woman with the whole culvert thing?
No, that's the one.
No, that's, so Maplewood's further up,
Yeah.
at the top of Linden Street, turn
It's this
left.
is
Oh,
Maple
that's
Stable.
Stables.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Maple
they raised
Stables.
the horses a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, are there any emergency vehicles that actually ever go up there?
No.
Right,
There's no
so
need
that
of
is,
it.
so that is the other thing
No,
that I
and
would
there's
do
no
though,
need of it.
is to just
Jeez.
have a discussion with Chief Galvin.
I-
Just to.
Please, please,
Get some
please,
input.
please. I get so, I mean, look, go up the White Mountains and trails. They don't worry about ATVs, and you don't need to talk to safety about putting in trails.
I tend to agree with Walter that emergency vehicles do not need to go up there.
But they have.
Well, let me finish. So, if they were to try to approach, it would be from, you know, the, Lyman?
Mm-hmm,
Um,
Lyman or Linden.
No, where do you live? What road do you live?
Linden.
Linden, it would be from Linden.
Right,
But, you know, and some of it's traversable, but after a certain point, particularly past the stone bridge, there's no way they can get up there.
Yeah.
Because, you know, leading uphill, that's not traversable, and going north, that's not traversable.
Yeah, it's kind of like.
So
a
they would
gutter.
stop before your area is anyway, so it's almost a moot point.
And besides, if they really need to get over it, they could just go from the other
But
direction.
they wouldn't, getting over it would lead you, that's my point, is getting over it would lead you nowhere. You can't actually drive past that point, unless you have like a dirt bike, which is not an emergency vehicle. So I don't think we need to worry about emergency vehicles. My recommendation would be not to make a bridge for horses. Horses weigh a lot,
Absolutely, I would.
and I think it'd be
And
best.
that'd be more of a liability issue too, they'd have an animal slide off of that,
Right.
because
Right.
the decking gets,
Right,
Right.
you're
right.
mossy and stuff like
So
that.
instead of going the direction that Tamara suggested and
Go
making
down.
it wider, just make it narrow.
Right.
Accommodate
And
horses next
it-
to it.
it-
And then I don't have
yeah,
to worry
one
about the
person-
structural integrity and if a horse falls
because
through
this
it or.
boardwalk
Right,
would not be
right.
on Maplewood property.
No, no.
No,
No, it's nowhere near.
Right.
there's.
The reason I'm discussing
So
Maplewood
where
Farm is
exactly
because
is
it's
this?
easier access.
Well,
Instead
where
of parking at the
exactly is
Linden
this muddy
Trailhead and
area?
carrying
Well,
uphill.
The easiest
It's
access
on-
is
it's
the
on
culvert.
Mount Kisco, it's way
Right.
up.
There it
Is it on the?
So,
Yeah.
what
yeah,
used to be the Tyler
so on
property?
Linden
It
Street,
is on that.
the
Okay.
It is.
easement
Where
that
is
we
the stone
have
bridge?
right, just
It's
a
on
little
the
bit
corner
uphill from
there.
Derby
I
Road.
can't explain it to you, but if you went up and walked that.
Yeah,
So
that's the trail
It's
I'm
just,
talking
it's a
about.
culvert.
So
Oh, okay,
It's a culvert.
so
That's not Maplewood Farm.
That's
No,
what-
no, no,
that's
no,
their-
no.
Oh, okay.
That's the alternative if I'm not able to convince Tamara and Maplewood Farm to let me use their access, which is better access because it's uphill
Right.
Sure.
and it's nicer walking and it's
Right.
like slightly graded downhill, which
It's
is.
still a ways though.
It's a
not-
ways, but it's
Yeah,
a much
that's
better,
the-
easier walk, especially when you're
How
carrying.
many scouts are you
slippers
gonna
and
get on those sleepers to haul them in?
As many as I can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be recruiting everyone.
Get a horse and tow 'em in.
Did,
Yeah, that's why he wants to
do you think Darien would be amenable to letting a pickup truck drive on our grass there?
No.
Watch out, Wolf.
You could always ask,
Then you gotta
but
carry it
I
uphill.
would guess she would not be super
Could you
excited
go
about
in
that.
from,
But you
the
can always
house
ask
at,
For a scout
Algernon
project, you know,
Hill,
she might,
and they've
She,
given us a
Actually,
sheet.
she might, just ask.
especially this
Well,
time.
do any of you guys know her? I mean,
Yeah, I know it will.
do you?
What?
You just,
Sue?
do you know what you just signed up for?
No, because I don't have the pickup truck.
No.
The Blazer?
You can go ask her.
One thing that floated around in my head, and I guess a few others had, Tamara's and some people that I've been talking with about the project is the possibility of actually like using a gator to transport some of the heavier materials.
Oh, no, foot.
Yeah.
What's a
Foot.
gator?
Put it on your shoulders and carry it.
Or a horse
A John
dragon.
Deere.
Yeah, that's.
ATV kind of thing.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I didn't have high hopes for that.
yeah, good.
Remember I told you, the first day of the project, you need to get as many people there as possible so they can all carry, because they probably won't come back a second day once they realize
Yeah.
they're carrying stuff uphill.
But at any rate, it is easier if I use the Maplewood Farm access.
Sure, yep, and hopefully Tamara will do it to be helpful.
Right.
She was, she's
Yeah.
very good.
She is,
They're a good way.
This is the Maplewood one.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably not that actually probably is a good way to get in there, 'cause it is all downhill.
It's all downhill
Yep.
Right,
versus uphill.
yeah.
So you're walking
That
uphill.
hadn't
with
occurred to me,
nothing,
that's
and walking
a
down
good idea.
heavy things.
I don't think she'd object to having a 3-foot thing and having the horses go along the side of it.
Right,
I
I
don't
think
think
as
so
long
either.
as there's room, accommodation is made one way or
Right.
another.
Are you
Exactly.
seeing signs of a lot of horse travel up there?
Yeah, this pool.
Oh, yeah.
You are?
Oh, God,
It's
yeah.
all over.
Oh.
Island Stream's actually getting used quite a bit.
You know, it's totally sufficient, when down on the low ramp off of Linden Street, there's a little footbridge that goes over the stream. It's only about this wide. It's
It works.
plenty wide
Where's
enough to
that?
get over the stream. You don't,
Come off Linden Street, and around come Denny's, just got, before you go, before you get to the pond.
I don't even.
Yeah.
Halfway there.
Oh,
It is,
okay.
it is sufficient, but it's a different thing. You know, that's a short span over a tiny stream.
Yeah.
And this is a boardwalk over a muck area. So
Right.
it's a different thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know, they have these all the time in the White Mountains, I know here.
So yeah, I like the 3-foot thing.
Yeah,
And so depending how much of that you want to do, I mean, when we had originally gone up, didn't look at my pictures from the time John and I had gone up, and I measured too far. I went back and looked at the picture, said, oh, this is where you were talking from. So it's somewhere between 60 and 80 feet from the kind of tree that I had a picture of, so.
There's boardwalks around Brooke, and there's boardwalks in Northrow from the Lyman Road over, and they're only 30 inches wide. I mean, you know, we'll take a walk, Joe,
Right.
and go
Yeah.
around Brook. I'll show you what's there. You get a
Yeah,
good
no,
idea.
30, 36 inches, either one's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so now the other question I have is the entrance, when you go onto the boardwalk and get off, is it sloped down? Is it smooth?
No, what do you think?
It's pretty level. That whole area, that whole stretch is very much.
He's talking about stepping up and onto it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Because I noticed like the little one we're talking about, there's a brook, people keep putting rocks there or something so you can, like a
As a
mountain bike
step.
probably can roll over. It's versus trying to.
Yeah, it's not the walkers, it's the mountain bikers that do that.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, do we want to put a ramp here? I haven't seen the full plan.
I mean, it couldn't be that difficult, I don't think. I
If
mean,
they can walk up there, they can step up on it.
You don't need a ramp, you just need like a step.
Okay.
As long as
There's
it's
a-
not, you know.
You just put an extra
3 feet.
sleeper in front of it or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If it's that high, if it's a normal step height, you know what I mean?
I can't imagine it would be more than 8 inches,
Yeah, it's normal step.
Right.
Cool.
which a mountain biker could, up
We
wheeling.
don't care about that.
They should be able to, yes.
And if they can't,
And they can get
Oh,
off their
well.
bike and walk.
They can ride around like the horses.
yeah. Excellent, so what do you need from us?
Permission, primarily.
I'd move that we let this project proceed.
Anybody have?
Second.
Reese, a second.
No, fine with it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
So just some kind of, so with the project, this is a proposal.
Okay.
The Scouts have Joel working for somebody, I assume it would be the commission. Okay. The entity would
but
be
yes,
the commission.
yes,
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
then they have a signatory that somebody's working with,
Okay,
so I
Yep.
assume,
Yep.
they call it the beneficiary representative, so if that's the case. So once he kind of finalizes the proposal, I guess catch up with you, John?
Yes.
Okay. Now, as far as finalizing specific lengths and the specific design, How do you want to handle that?
How do you wanna handle that?
I assume you'd want to see it.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I'll modify it and then, I guess I'll put it past you, I guess I should speak to the building inspector.
I wouldn't at this point,
No,
if you're not
no,
gonna.
Right, yeah.
No.
How are you gonna pay for this stuff?
Well, that's, so I'm not sure what you guys had in mind, but if it's a matter of getting donations, then if we can get a letter from the commission saying, hey, look at the Scout is doing this project. Just so if you were to solicit donations,
Sure.
it's not just
Yep.
coming in on its own.
So are you gonna put an estimate together?
I have an estimate put together. I estimated should be somewhere around 1,300. I have a more specific number than that.
You got the board feet you need and everything?
I do have all that written down, it's not on the proposal, because that's all it's a little bit wishy-washy. But my estimated costs are right here, broken down.
What it did, John, is that information that you had sent me from the Armstrong woman, those are what those pictures are from, and
Yeah.
kind of use that information to.
Joe, I'll call, what's his name, at Kit Cabela, see if we can get the money for it.
You think so?
Even, Lowe's might help
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
or something like
Will
this.
you send me
Yeah, those
his
might have-
contact
like,
information?
Yeah.
You can donate some. wood.
Also.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying, yeah, instead of going for the money, Lowe's will actually help donate wood sometimes.
How is National Lumber to work around?
I don't think they're quite as good as Lowell, but maybe.
Okay, no, I just was, where they're in
Yeah.
town, I wasn't sure. if,
Yeah, they used to be, but not since.
Caldwell's.
Caldwell.
Right, when it was
yeah.
Caldwell's, yeah.
Yeah, he'd have it all set up,
They did
but,
donate,
And the thing is I probably don't need, grade A lumber.
They did.
Right,
They
that's
did.
what I'm saying,
I
is,
can use
yeah, I need to
grading
go
lumber.
to, I would try Nashville, just to say, work on the project, if
Yeah,
you
if you
get
have
some from
contacts,
both
that'd be
places.
great.
And
Yeah,
You
I
know.
appreciate that, Walter.
even has a little bend in it, stuff like
Take
that.
care.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a trail board.
Right, right.
Yeah, so yeah, see what you can find, and, if you run short, maybe the commission can donate some money too.
Well, if you read that, I might have the ability to reduce the cost a little bit, maybe by a fourth or so, because I have PT 6x6 sleepers in my backyard.
Get
you
your
know,
parents to donate it.
Scrap.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
little things like that I might be able to do.
So, John, I give you your email address, is that the best way to contact you? Okay.
Want to write down for you?
These things just get screwed together.
So I think the sleepers they actually use, if I remember, bolt them and then use rebar to go through into the ground just to kind of stabilize them in the ground.
Mm.
Unless you get ledge, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got legend, bro?
What?
Getting rocks there.
Up on Pisgah?
Really?
Yeah.
I was planning on prefabricating all the pieces so I don't have to haul up 8 different power tool batteries and this and that. So I would drill all the holes in the decking and the sleepers and do it that way. Make it a little bit easier.
So,
Yeah, I'd be
yeah.
careful about that.
Well, that's, yeah, it's gonna take some figuring out level and all
Right.
that.
Yeah, you may, because that would imply a two-phase thing, because you want to figure out exactly where the sleepers are. You know, because you're gonna have, you may have to work around the terrain.
Right, yeah, so you might not be able to decide ahead of time how
Well, at
it's
least-
put together.
At least the boards I could do, and then I might be able to do some parts of the sleeper as well, because I was gonna hold it together with like metal kind of plates, like with decking. They use for decks.
Do we need the area flag right back?
We don't need to flag it, right?
No.
Again, we just want to make sure you were okay with the location of where you want it, so that, I would ask you that, just so we all, when it's done, we go, oh yeah, that's what we wanted and where we wanted it.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I would like to be there,
Yeah, no, that's.
so, and help
absolutely.
out, so, I can,
I'm
Right, I think,
planning to do the project in like April vacation time. I'm gonna
Okay.
try and get as many
so no
people
spring,
signed up
spring
as I
skiing
can.
for you.
Yeah.
Let me just give you the, kind of the process. So what happens, he'll revise the proposal, get all the signatures for it, get sent off to the council office. They approve the projects. It's usually a week or two. And then he's okay to start. And then the schedule is really up to him and you to kind of, whatever works.
yeah, if I'm not out of town, then, Saturdays, Sundays, and Wednesdays, my schedule's flexible enough to just pop up there with you and check it out. or the three of us come over. So,
And
I think this is
you're-
great.
You can be around too.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, if you're needing to start when John's not available, though, you wanna make sure you're putting it in the right place, right?
But yeah,
So it would
that's-
be the-
It's,
It would be the
it's not,
backup.
it's not real
You know,
summer.
my guess
So-
is they could figure it out without any problem. We don't have to
I have
micromanage
to-
him. Let the guy do it.
No,
And
and
people-
Walter, have you been up there recently? This is a very wide area.
I've
Are you
been
going
walking
smack
down
dab
there.
down the middle?
Yeah.
We'll be off to
No,
one
but
side.
Or-
he can figure it out. He can figure it out. I'm not saying don't do it. Let him do it. Let him do it.
It'll be off to one side, because the.
So I'll let you
the
two
formation
connect
is-
and figure out
Yeah,
that.
well,
like I
good.
said,
That's
I've been to the
what-
site
that's
3
what-
times.
Okay, well, I've been there about, five
Probably.
hundred thirty-three times, so.
Every weekend.
Right.
You know all those initials carved in the trees?
Actually, more than that. Every single one.
All right.
So
I was
just a bit-
interested in this thing about all the horse people up there. If that's happening, somebody should get all the horse people together on our lands and let them help us out a little bit. And make sure they're supporting us when we want lands, but
Well, I
if
don't
they're
wanna
raising hell with our
exaggerate.
trails,
I
then
mean,
they should
I
pitch
think-
in and help to fix them.
I think there's probably a half dozen horses a week
Oh, all
in the
right.
entire area.
Okay.
I mean, so don't exaggerate. They're there, they're not that often.
But there are
I
a
gotta
lot of
go.
horses in that neighborhood, let me tell you.
Now I'm gonna go up and look
But on
tomorrow.
the
I can't
trails,
stand
I
it.
mean, you almost never, I've seen horses up there when I've been up there.
Right, yeah.
You know, and you see the,
I've
horse
seen
poop.
deer up there. They walk across that.
Oh, I saw a deer coming down here today.
yeah, I've seen more deer than horses up there,
Yeah.
so.
All right, so you'll keep in touch with John, and John will keep us updated, and,
This is great though.
yeah. Very excited.
No, I mean, this is something, I'm very glad because this is very much needed. That's just, that's one of many areas where it's just a mucky mess.
Well, I appreciate the support.
Are you gonna take pictures as you're working on this project?
Yeah, yeah. Send us some photos
Gotta have
and,
some before and after, right?
yep,
From when he
yeah.
does the eco board review, I guess.
Sure, yep.
That's great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very
appreciate-
much for your time.
Appreciate the
All
interest.
right, thank you.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night, thank you.
What's Joe's last name?
No.
Oh, I can't spell it. Coltiger. C-O-L-T-E-R
Yeah.
Mm.
J-A-J-N.
Can we put a minor's
something
name in
like
the
that.
minutes?
Coltiger. You can spell it as good as I can.
It's open
Yeah.
meeting.
I don't know.
I've never,
I haven't put his name down yet, because I don't know if you can put a minor's name down in the minutes.
Oh, we don't think,
Parents,
don't,
Just put an Eagle Scout candidate.
right,
Joel.
yeah,
Just put Joel. Eagle Scout candidate Joel.
Eagle Scout Joel.
oh,
Can't be.
okay.
He's not an Eagle Scout yet.
Oh, right,
This helps him get there.
You know, it's on film now.
right.
I just don't, I'm not aware.
Does he live in Berlin? or-
Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
it's Kate Hendricks' son. You know Kate?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Is that the one you wrote the letter for?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I assume you want to take a copy of that?
Yes.
All right. This always happens by the time we get to the kind of squishy things, it's late. Um, I want to talk about vernal pools. I want to. So if I gave homework, instead of us sitting here and doing it together,
Sure, that's all.
homework is pick a vernal pool that you want
Well,
to
that begs the
certify
question.
this summer,
Yeah, no, that begs a question.
this
though.
spring. Yeah.
So, because we can divide the vernal pools into two categories.
Mhm.
Those on protected lands and those on private property. So the protected land, piece of cake, just go there, muck around in the morning.
Mhm.
Private property, you have to ask permission to step on their land.
Not necessarily.
I think you do.
I think you do too.
Yeah.
You can, if
If
you
you can see
can,
it from the road.
if you can see it from the road and you can get audio recording of the peepers and the wood frogs, then you don't actually have to go on the property.
She did one last year.
Right, I did the one on Gates Pond Road without going on the property.
Did you take pictures?
From the street, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, so if you don't have to
And-
go on the property, you don't need permission.
correct.
I have a secondary question.
Mhm.
What does this change for the property owner? I mean, so is the setback more than 25 feet? If it's a vernal pool, is it 100 feet?
Do you remember off the top of your head?
Well, I think it's 25 feet or something, the state law, but if we had our local bylaw, it would have been, I think, 100 feet.
I still have it earmarked from, so that's isolated land subject to flooding.
So that should be 25 feet. But does, if you make it a vernal pool,
Yeah.
is a greater, by
It
state
is a
law,
greater state,
by state law, not.
Wetlands Protection Act,
Okay.
yes. Yes, it does increase the setback. I wanna say, I'm gonna have to find it in here.
Look at you,
There's not an actual index, so it's the table of contents, right? Which is harder in a legal document. Right, because vernal pool. You looking it up? Good. So it's right around there.
Did you check with, Skip, to see if he had a copy of that?
No idea.
Official certification provides a vernal pool up to 100 feet beyond its boundary, in some cases certain protections under several state and federal laws.
If it's registered, certified.
Right.
What
Because
is
it can only be a vernal pool with protection if it is certified. Otherwise, it's land, isolated land subject to flooding. Which, found out.
It's up to 100 feet
Up to
though.
100 feet, yeah.
And this translation into,
Well, if we can keep our next meeting light, right now, the only thing that's on the agenda is Carl Wickstrom's coming in at 7:30 to talk about the well that they wanna put down at the community gardens. All our town meeting stuff seems to be in order.
well, we may have
So-
quotas to talk about by then,
Okay,
but that shouldn't take that long, actually.
right. So,
You wanna drill a well there?
yeah, they got this, they got money for a solar pump. And they wanna put a well in for an irrigation well.
I think of money from the state,
That's
through one from,
through a grant or some, or, I don't remember.
oh, through the senator, our senator, Tran, our representative.
Really? Tran? Not,
No,
No.
not the representative, he's a senator.
well, good,
Yeah.
glad to see you did
I
something.
think they got $25,000. I think that's what, the money he's talking about.
Nice. I'm I know that he wants to come in and talk about the well, that's all I know.
And here we're pumping all this water right now.
I know.
Whoa, okay.
So you only need to go down 8 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a clarification from a Framingham, Massachusetts document, which indicates that that 100-foot thing is actually, can be reduced significantly. And it may just be the extent that habitat is within the area subject to protection.
Right, so, let's table it for next meeting.
The reason I bring this up, kind of, before we table it, is,
Yep.
you know, we just also have to be good neighbors, you know.
Oh, sure. Yep.
'Cause, like, there's a case in point, I know there's a vernal pool on this guy's property near me,
Mhm.
but I don't know these people,
Mhm.
you know, 'cause I know a lot of people.
Yeah, no, we're not when we
Uh,
started talking about this, we wanted to focus on, vernal pools on land that is in danger of being developed.
Yeah, but if we pass the wetlands bylaw, the vernal pools that the state has, with those little asterisks on that map
As
that
potential
I
vernal
have,
pools.
if they were potential and they turn out to be the wetlands bylaw, I think automatically protects those.
Right.
Yes, you know, it looks like that's the case. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, normally isolated land subject to flooding would have a 25-foot setback. But if we came on to somebody's property and said, oh, it's a vernal pool, it's a 100-foot setback, and they said, well, I was gonna put a shed up.
Yeah, no, we're not looking,
We're not doing that.
that
We
is
wouldn't do
not
that, no.
our.
That could be an unintended consequence of what we're doing, so I just wanted to be careful.
I think we would choose,
To be frank.
no, we would not choose those potential vernal pools.
All right.
Yeah,
So
no,
you're
I'm
giving us
looking for
homework.
ones like in the woods kind of thing.
All right, so you're gonna give us homework.
Yeah, look at the USGS map, turn on the National Heritage Data Layer.
Actually, I think I already saw something like this today.
Right, and try to identify some potential vernal pools that we would like to certify.
Yeah, I think the MAC site actually links to this stuff.
Right. SVT has already given us permission to do the one on Great Oak Farm. You said you wanted to do the one on your property. I honestly don't think the one on my property qualifies, because it has an inlet and an outlet and no fairy shrimp. So, so, yeah, no, we're not looking to jam up neighbors, for sure. Just looking to protect some wetland.
Some fairy shrimp.
Some fairy shrimp, exactly.
Squeaky good fries.
Do you have anything else you would like to talk about?
No.
Anybody else have anything else they'd like to talk about?
No.
And hopefully we'll deal with POTUS next time.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, with all the town meeting stuff submitted in the next couple of days, I'll have a little extra headspace to lend to you for that, if you need it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that what I wrote up today, the lawyer will be mostly satisfied with.
Okay,
And by the way, I did get back to Ernie that same day that I flew out,
okay.
I think, that yes, it's we're, you know, this isn't a
I feel like
forever
it
thing.
came today,
That was,
I mean, yesterday.
no, oh, maybe, then he didn't read my last email,
Well, there's a fair chance of that.
because I didn't get one from him. I got one from him with the map thing 2 days ago.
Oh, was it 2 days ago? Right here, 1 day ago.
No, that was 1 day ago, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But if you, oh, you can see my email below that. We agree that the Mass Environmental does not need to be involved with the agreement, but the phrase in perpetuity will be removed and your edits concerning the duration of the soil lease will be added. So I already got back to it.
Okay, all right, good. Excellent, good job. And, all right, guys.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Third.
All those in
Everybody's ready.
favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right,